Hi, welcome to Wise Guys. This video is on percent, fraction, and decimal equivalents, and they are practice questions. So, here's a question. Write 4 2/5 as a decimal and a percent. So you can pause the video, you can work on the question, and then start the video up again, and I will be working through the answer. Okay, 4 2/5. Now don't forget, of course, the 4 is a whole number, correct? The fraction is the 2/5. So what we can do is we can take this number and we can essentially write it this way: 4 plus 2/5, right? Those are the two parts that make up 4 2/5. And it's only the 2/5 that we're going to turn into a decimal. We're just going to leave the 4 sit as it is. So to turn the 2/5 into a decimal, we just use our calculator. So this becomes 4 plus, and 2 divided by 5 in the calculator is 0.4. Now we're just going to add these two numbers up, and we get 4.4. So 4 2/5 is the same as 4.4. Now if we want to take this number and turn it into a percent, we take 4.4, multiply it by 100%. So again, if you want to change any number into a percent, all you do is multiply it by 100%, and you end up with 440%. Okay? Now here's the next question. Again, you can pause the video, work on the question, turn the video back on again, and I will work through the question. All right, so you want to write 85% as a decimal and as a fraction. If we want to write 85% as a decimal, to change a percent into a number, we just divide it by the 100%. So we take our 85% divided by 100%, and that gives us 0.85. So that's our decimal, 0.85. Now, if we want to change this decimal into a fraction, we take 0.85 divided by 1. We move the decimal in the numerator 2 places to get rid of the decimal on the top. What we do on the top, we do to the bottom, so we move it 2 places. And we end up with 85 over 100. Now what we do is we ask ourselves, well, we start reducing essentially. So we ask ourselves, what are both numbers divisible by? And the first thing we can see is a 5. That's what I'm seeing, okay? So I'll take the 85 and divide it by 5. That gives me 17. And 100 divided by 5 is 20. Now that we're here, we ask ourselves, we see if we can reduce it again. We ask ourselves, what are these numbers both divisible by? And we got nothing. So at this point, we're done. 17 over 20 is the fraction. So 85% is equal to 0.85 and equal to 17 over 20. Last question. So write 0.875 as a percent and as a fraction. So again, pause the video, work on the question, and then turn it back on, and I'll be working through the question. So 0.875 is a percent. We take our 0.875, multiply it by 100%, and that gives us 87.5%. This is just a mistake here, sorry. Now, if we want to change the decimal to a fraction, take our 0.875. What's our first step? First step is to divide by 1. Second step is to get rid of the decimals in the numerator. So 1, 2, 3 places to the right. We do the same in the denominator. 1, 2, 3 places to the right. And put zeros in those spaces. So we end up with 875 over 1,000. Now we start reducing. We ask ourselves, what are they both divisible by? Right off the bat, I see they're both divisible by 5. I also see they're both divisible by 25. So let's take 875 and divide it by 25, and that equals 35. And 1,000 divided by 25 is, I think, 40, but let's just check. Divided by 25 equals 40. Yes. Now again, we ask ourselves, what are they both divisible by? They're both divisible by 5. So 35 divided by 5 is 7. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So we end up with 7/8. So here's our percent, here's our fraction, there's our decimal, and they're all essentially the same number. And that video has been brought to you by Wise Guys. Our website, if you're interested, is www.rrc.mb.ca, Learning Assistance Center. I hope you have a really good day.